Let us join together in prayer. As we gather this day, we give thanks for the amazing creation in which we live, given to us not only for our sustenance, but also for our amusement and our joy. Amen. Well, it's been a week, and maybe given all the flap over the government shutdown, and the Sean Diddy Combs trial, and the announcement that a woman is poised to lead Japan and another woman has been selected to lead the Anglican Church, you may have missed the announcement about who will be headlining the Super Bowl halftime show next year. A little sidebar, Hilton, our music director, used to oversee all the pregame shows at the Super Bowl for many years. So this Super Bowl coming up, we're not going to see Taylor Swift. It's going to be Bad Bunny from Puerto Rico. Now, some are decrying this selection as un-American, not seeming to realize that Puerto Rico is part of the United States and that Puerto Ricans are U.S. citizens. Now, with all the divisions among people today and the problems in the world, why an outcry about the American performing at an American sporting event? I don't know. Now, to be perfectly honest, I've watched the last few Super Bowl halftime shows, and I've had very little understanding of what was going on. Was it in English? Was it in Spanish? Who the performers were? What they were singing about? Are they saying, go kill your mother? Are they telling people to stop using fossil fuels and save the planet? I really couldn't tell you. So as for this negative reaction to Bad Bunny because he's from Puerto Rico and sings in Spanish, find something more important to get worked up about. We are not here to keep attacking and fighting with each other as human beings. That might surprise some people. We are here to be part of the great experiment of life. In the wonderful song that we heard this morning, there is mention of light, space, the waters, clouds, the winds, fiery flames, earth, mountains, thunder, valleys, floods, land, springs, ravines, wild animals, wild donkeys, birds singing among the branches, grass, cattle, plants to cultivate for food, soil, oil, bread, trees, cedars, the stork, wild goats, crags, rock badgers, the moon, the seasons, the sun, darkness, night, forest animals, lions, people, sea creatures, living things large and small, breath, death, life. The psalmist tells us of the incomparable imagination behind all of life and the cosmos. It tells us of an interconnected whole involving the land and sea and living things and planets and space, and we are part of this grand reality. The community of all creation, a wondrous manifestation of the divine imagination, pure gift. And yet, so often, what we see is that we, our little species, is consumed with conflict between ourselves, finding reasons to fight and kill and criticize instead of filling our intended function in the scheme of divine reality as loving beings here to care for the rest of creation. Albert Schweitzer, the great humanitarian of the 20th century, observed, "Man is a clever animal who behaves like an imbecile." Schweitzer also tells us, until he, man, Schweitzer was a person of his time, not acquainted with inclusive language, until man extends his circle of compassion to include all living things, man will not himself find peace.
Amen.
We certainly need to extend our circle of compassion because we have anything but peace. This World Communion Sunday, and here we are, that we're celebrating that we're part of a worldwide community of faith committing to following Jesus. That is beautiful. A world community, but that is only a start. As the Bible and our faith tradition remind us, we are not only part of the worldwide Christian community, we are part of the human family, our whole species. And not only the human family, we are family with all the species that make their home on this earth. And perhaps with other species that make their home beyond this earth, we don't know. We are in relationship with all of the plants, trees, and other life forms, as well as the land and waters that grace this planet and make it possible for other life forms, including ours, to live. We are utterly and completely dependent on the web of life to sustain us. But what other species desecrates, destroys, and debases the very resources that sustain it? Only humans, I think. Schweitzer was right, we're imbeciles. A study was released recently revealing that even if humanity chose to end its relationship with fossil fuels, the temperature of the planet would still increase by 1.5 degrees Celsius because of the impact of the excessive consumption of meat and dairy products by human beings. In an article entitled, "The Climate Movement's Biggest Weakness, What the Climate Movement is Getting Dead Wrong," the results of a new report by the Eat Lancet Commission highly recommends reducing consumption of these foods to save the planet. The resources include experts in nutrition, climate, economics, agriculture, as well as other areas of expertise. Food and farming account for 30% of global greenhouse gas emissions, and also significantly impact deforestation, air and water pollution. Of course, those in wealthier countries like ours are having the biggest impact, and there are people in impoverished areas who actually need to be eating more meat and dairy to meet their basic nutritional needs. After reading the novel My Year of Meats, written by Ruth Ozeki in 1998, I made the decision over 20 years ago to eat vegetarian. The book mentioned the damage to the planet that the meat industry causes, and that was enough for me. Almost 10 years ago, I began eating plant-based foods for health reasons, so no dairy or eggs. Now, for me, it's been a really easy commitment to make, even though I grew up eating meat 3 times a day, and my grandmother was married to a butcher, my grandfather. I don't really miss what I have chosen not to eat. It's easy for me. It's just natural now. So I'm wondering if for the sake of the community of life which sustains us, could we, as a species, as individuals, consider doing less harm to the earth and its inhabitants by just eating less meat and dairy? Just eating less of certain foods. And could we consider the needs of the planet and the community of life by using less pesticides and chemicals in food production that harm not only living beings, but also poison the land and water? I mean, what bird fouls its own nest? There's a beautiful story about a community on an island in Iceland that every year makes a devoted effort to save the puffin population. By the way, my mother made this little needle point of the puffin. You know, these are cute little birds, and they tend to eat too much, and then they just bob on the water because they weigh too much to fly, and they have to wait till they digest. So apparently this island in Iceland is in the midst of the largest puffin colony in the world. There are 1.6 million puffins there and 4,300 humans. Now, puffins feed on krill, and due to the warming seas, the amount of krill has been steadily decreasing. So half of the puffin population has been lost in the last 30 years. The adult puffins lay one egg in a nest in a deep burrow under the ground each year. The baby lives in total darkness and is fed fish by the parents. Then the parents leave to migrate for 8 months. And the pufflings venture out of the burrow on their own, and they need to find their way to the sea where they can eat krill. But the lights of the town confuse the pufflings even at night, and they have a hard time finding the sea. So they get out of their burrow, and then they seek a dark place of some kind to hide, like inside a tire or under the shipping containers at the harbor. So the people of the town on the island head out each night in August, after dark at about 11 o'clock at night, and they search for baby puffins in the dark. And when they find them, they see that they're tossed back into the sea. People spend hours each night, night after night, looking for these birds. And this includes families with young children, teens, young adults, older adults. And the effort is not without risk. The people tell stories of bloodied hands and broken toes, sprained ankles, scratches and bruises, all a consequence of puffling hunting. This is a beautiful example of people being in communion with nature and the other species around them. They are embracing their interdependence and their shared existence. A 5-year-old boy on the island, Ivar, who is an avid searcher for pufflings along with his family, says that puffling season is even better than Christmas. It's so fun running at them, he says. But at Christmas, you get all those presents that you get to keep. You have to let those pufflings go. How could puffling season really be better than Christmas? Ivar thinks about that and then replies, happiness. As we come to the communion table today, may we remember our communion not only with other Christians and those who have gone before us in the faith. May we remember our communion not only with Jesus, but may we remember our communion with creation, the great manifestation of the God of love. When we are one with creation, all of it, every grain of sand, every bird in flight, every drop of rain, every pet we've ever loved, we are truly whole and know